Jermaine reporting for the Pound for Pound Boxing Show. I'm joined by Ray Ford. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, man. Thanks for taking the time for joining me, man. Ray, man, I want to talk about, obviously, first of all, we're going to talk later about the great news that's happened recently about your world title fight. I want to talk a bit about, I want the UK fans to know a bit about yourself. So tell the UK fans who'll be watching this video a bit about yourself.
Wait, you said say it again?
If you could tell the UK fans listening a bit about yourself. I know you fought over already, but just tell fans a bit about you.
Yeah. So basically, I'm a fighter, professional boxer. Signed to Matchroom. I got 15 fights. I got 14 over, 1 draw, 7 knockouts. My next fight, I'm fighting for a world title.
Brilliant. Before we get to your next fight, I want to talk about your last fight. You won by UD over Jesse Magdaleno. How do you rate your performance that night, and how happy was you with the win?
I give myself a B. I was happy with the win for sure because Jesse Magdaleno was a former world champion. He got a name. He got like a lot of experience, and he had a good amateur background. So beating him was good for my resume. But I felt like I could have stopped him. Or I could have pressed on the gas a little bit more. So yeah, I feel good about the performance, but I know I could have did better.
He's a tough fighter. He's been in there with, like I said, he's a former world champion. He's been in there with lots of Dogboe and I think Nick Ball. So he's been in there with some tough fighters. So for you to come out on top, you must have been happy to get a win.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always gonna be happy to win. That's the whole goal, is to go in there and get the victory. But especially over him, because like I said, he's a former world champion and he got a big name. So it was good for my resume.
Yeah, brilliant. Let's talk a bit about that, because the last time we spoke, you fought in the UK. I think once you fought Reece Bellotti and got a good stoppage win that night, and then you obviously won a couple of fights since then, since we last spoke. But let's talk a bit about your next fight. You're going to be fighting on the 2nd of March against let me pronounce his name, Otabek Kholmatov. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Kholmatov. Yeah.
I mean, fighting for the vacant world title. How happy are you with that news to be finally fighting for a world title?
I'm extremely happy. You work your whole life to get to this point. As a little kid, this has always been a goal of mine to become a world champion. So it's definitely a major thing in my life right now.
Yeah. Do you know much about this fighter going into the fight?
I mean, of course I watched him and stuff, but I don't know. He's just like any other fighter. I don't really know these guys. I just I do my homework and I get ready.
Yeah. And how's are you started camp already? And if so, how's camp going?
Yeah, I started like a pre-camp. I've been training though, like since my last fight. So I've been in the gym, but I want to say I started like camp for real, like back in September. But everything going good right now. My weight, I'm not too heavy. I'm doing 10, 12 rounds when I spar. I'm feeling good. So yeah, camp is good, but we ain't even really like lock in yet for real. So when I leave and go away and like really lock in the camp, then I'm gonna turn it up another notch.
Brilliant. This title was we used to belong to a British champion, and that was the former WBA world champion Leigh Wood. Did you watch his last fight? And if so, what did you make of his last fight?
Yeah, I watched the last fight. I felt like he was just in there like just going with the flow type shit. Like I don't think he like I don't know. I just feel like his energy, like he ain't have like the winner type energy like when he was fighting. I ain't feel like he was in there like actually trying to win. I think he was just like okay with how the fight was going. And then Josh Warrington ran into a shot, and it changed the outcome of the fight. But I think before that, I think he was just getting beat up.
Yeah. Obviously, the last couple of wins have come by like late stoppages when in fights when he's probably been dominated.
Yeah.
Do you think, obviously, he's gone up in weight? Do you think that's a good thing for him? Obviously, that he won't be competing.
Say it again.
Do you think him going in weight is a good sign? Because you do think if you was to get in the ring with him, do you think it would be a different night?
Yeah, it'd definitely be a different night. Me and Warrington is two different fighters. I'm a defensive first type of guy, so I'm not gonna run into no shot. But as far as like, is it a good thing for him? I don't know. We just gonna have to wait and see. I can't speak for him. He might feel better when he go up to 130. He might be sharper. Who knows? I don't know. So we just gonna have to wait and see.
Another fight that happened recently is former world champion Isaac Dogboe versus Nick Ball. Nick Ball coming up with a win that night. What do you think of the fight?
I ain't even watched that fight. I ain't watch it, so I can't even tell you.
Okay. Do you know much about these two fighters? Have you watched some of their fights?
I know Isaac Dogboe. I heard of Nick Ball, but I never watched him, so I really can't even sit here and tell you much about him. But Isaac Dogboe, I seen him fight before. I seen him when he fought. I was actually there at that fight when he fought Jesse Magdaleno, and I want to say I seen another fight, but I don't. Yeah, I ain't watched them fight, so I can't even speak on it.
I want to talk a bit about something that's happened recently. You had on Twitter a friend of yours, Shakur Stevenson, going back and forth with Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia. Can you see this potentially happen in the future? Shakur getting in there with these two guys.
Yeah, I can see it in the future. These guys are still young in their careers, so they got a lot of time left. Shakur might end up going to 140 and meeting those guys, or they could fight at a catch weight, anything. So I won't just say it's not going to happen. Like, I definitely believe it can happen because I don't think neither one of those guys fear anybody. And I think they're going to want to make the biggest fights happen eventually. So I think down the line they'll definitely happen.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to be for world titles and have to build up like a big pay-per-view? Do you think that fight's going to have to be manifested a bit more for them fights to happen and make a lot of money?
Yeah, it probably be like manifested a little bit more, just because like they all not in the same weight class right now. Shakur just getting up to 135, and Teofimo and um Ryan, they moved up to 140, and like their frames is bigger than Shakur. So I think it's going to manifest regardless because of like the weight differences and things like that. But I think like with those fights, they don't have to be belts on the line. I think they'll just be big fights because of like the names, the fan bases, and things like that. These are the fights that fans want to see. So it don't have to be titles on the line for them.
Yeah. Another question I was going to ask you, because after Shakur's last fight, he's had a lot of criticism over here and in the States about the way he performed and stuff like that. Do you
Yeah.
think the defensive style is a bit underestimated and not really people not giving a lot of credit for the way they fight in that sort of style?
You say that last part again.
Do you think the defensive style is a bit underestimated? A lot of people don't get credit for that sort of style.
Yeah. I mean, but that been going on. Even when Floyd was fighting, they said Floyd was running and things like that. I think boxing fans, they just want to see guys beat each other brains out, and they want to see blood. They want to see somebody get knocked out. So they're not gonna really appreciate the smart defensive style of boxing, because that's not what they really there to see. They paying money to see a brutal sport, so they want to see violence. They want to see it get ugly in there. So
Another fight that just took place on the weekend was Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis. Devin Haney becoming a two-weight world champion. Did
yeah,
you watch the fight that night, and what did you make of Devin's performance?
yeah, I watched the fight. I think Devin looked like crazy sharp. Um, I seen the little punch stats. It said Regis only landed 36 punches in 12 rounds, and that was crazy. So that just goes to show like how sharp Devin actually was and how good his defense was. And it wasn't like he was running anything. He was staying. standing there in front of him, outboxing him, power boxing him. He dropped Regis, hurt him a couple times. He looks sharp, fast, and I'm curious to see like all the other big fights go on at 140 with him and Teofimo, him and Ryan, him and the other guy Matias. So Surreal, I don't know how to say his name, but the other 140 world champion. And other fighters that's up there at 140.
Yeah. Do you think they're real comfortable at 140 now compared to when he was at 135?
Yeah, he looked comfortable in there with Regis, but that might have just been because Regis wasn't on the level of him, so he probably was a little more comfortable in there with him. But I don't know. We got to see like more fights. But he did look sharp. He did look comfortable fighting at 140. He did look a lot better versus when he fought Lomachenko. So I'm curious to see how he keep performing up there.
Yeah. I was watching, obviously, that night we had Eddie Hearn talking to Keyshawn Davis about potentially fighting Cruz next year.
Yeah.
Do you think that fight needs to also be manifested before they get it on the line?
I don't think that fight need to be manifested because Andy Cruz, he not like gonna be like a real big seller because he don't speak English. So I don't think a fight like that need to be manifested. They got history, and I don't know. It could be manifested, but I don't know the way that they moving Andy Cruz. They moving them real fast. Keyshawn moving kind of fast. Yeah, I don't know. They might end up fighting next year or the next 2 years, 3 years, whatever. I don't think it really need to be manifested though.
Yeah, and you know Keyshawn well as well. How much of a fight has he improved since that in the Olympics?
I'm not like really in like camp with Keyshawn or now. I don't see him day to day, so I can't really. And I wasn't around him when he was getting ready for the Olympics, so I can't really say if he got better or how much he got better. I really don't know. But what I can say is Keyshawn always been sharp. He's been a good fighter, and now it's just he's sitting down on his punches more in the pros from what I can see, and he looked real comfortable and relaxed. But that always been Keyshawn. So
yeah, and this obviously I want to talk about you for plans for next year. You're going to obviously fighting for world title, but what else do you want to achieve next year if possible?
I wanna get another one of those. Like after I win this belt, I want to unify it and get another one of those world champions in there with me, and probably move up not too later, not too long after that. So yeah, I don't know. We just gotta wait and see. I'm optimistic. So yeah.
Yeah, and lastly, before I let you go, Ray, why should everybody tune in? It's probably going to be on the zone. Why should everybody tune in on the 2nd of March to watch you fight for a world title?
Nah, it's gonna be on ESPN.
It's going to be, oh wow, well that's amazing, man.
Yeah. It's gonna be on ESPN, but yeah, y'all should just tune in because it's my big moment, and it's my first world title. I'm going up against somebody who came from out of nowhere, but is being hyped up to be this monster. So yeah, we just gonna. I feel like y'all should tune in because the styles match up. You got somebody who's a power puncher. Then you got somebody who's a boxer. I don't know. I can really change it up though, but they'll say I'm a boxer, slick, fast, but I'm a sharp puncher. And we got somebody who's a big, strong guy, from the Uzbekistan. And yeah, it's just we gonna get in there, we're gonna clash, and yeah, it's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah, I can't wait for that fight, man. I've followed your career for a while now, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight. It's going to be a great night, even more so now. ESPN, it's even more big, man. That's going to be a great night.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you for doing this interview. Helping promoting it a little bit too.
Always, man. Listen, man, I want to wish you a great Christmas, man. Merry Christmas, man, and an even better 2024, man.
Thank you, and same to you, man. I appreciate you.
No problem, man. Take care now. God bless.